Welcome to another episode of Candid Moments with Candace. I have a special guest today from out of town. He is an advocate, an author. He works at Mohawk College. He's a counselor and a community leader and so much more. All the way from Hamilton, Ontario. Please help me welcome Anthony Frisina. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Candace. Nice to meet you. Nice to be here.
Nice to meet you in person. This is so
You
nice. Thank you
likewise.
for social media that connected us.
Absolutely.
So, what are you working on right now?
Oh, what am I working on right now, Candace? We actually just got through International Day of Persons with Disabilities this past weekend. So I did a local book signing at a pharmacy. I did a lot of social media and events online, interviews, lives, local media interviews to speak about International Day of Persons with Disabilities because it was the 30th anniversary of International Day of Persons with Disabilities. So I wanted to amplify that on a larger scale. So, pardon me. The theme for International Day of Persons with Disabilities was transformative solutions for inclusive development, the role of innovation in fueling an accessible and equitable world. I myself identify as a person with a visible physical disability. I was born with spina bifida and hydrocephalus, and I do use a wheelchair to navigate from point A to point B.
People like you just inspire the heck out of me. But why why be that person that gives back and be that advocate? I know the answer to it, but I'm trying to pry here.
I love it. I love it. Honestly, Candice, for me, it's gratitude. You know,
Oh, I love
I, I, my ebbs and flows are simply about gratitude. As a person who's gone through systems of medical system, school, transition from elementary to high school to college, college graduate, alumni of distinction at Mohawk College. I simply wanted to give back to the next generation so that the next generation that doesn't have to go through or be part of the barriers that people with disabilities currently face now. I always say that in life there are no problems, only solutions waiting to be found. And everything that I've done and everything that I've created with Above and Beyond is, well, first and foremost, in my mother's honor, who passed away in 2016. But it's also the semblance of gratitude to work with kids, to work with the next generation, so that the next generation's hurdles are far less significant than the hurdles that are faced today.
I love it. I love it. That is so great. You're paving the way for the next generations and giving them, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a accessibility and opportunities.
We're carving a path, slowly but surely. We face a lot of barriers, whether it be ableism, elitism, egoism. I think those are the biggest non-tangible barriers currently in our system. There's a semblance of believing that people with disabilities are the burden, rather the systems, uh, the elitism, the egoism, the ableism is really what's the burden to collective prosperity.
Could you imagine if we were all the same? How boring would that be? I
Absolutely.
People are differently abled. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what kind of ability or lack thereof, or just differently abled people are. Um, for me, as an example, my teacher does not give me any grief about it. I'm not the best dancer in town, but I I'm persistent. So even though I walk with a limp, and it's very apparent.
Mhm.
Sometimes I forget about it because I'm in denial. It's not just a river in Egypt. But even though I'm a stroke survivor, the teacher does not look at me in class like, oh, maybe you should take someone else's class. She's very welcoming to me because I push forward. And she has never treated me any differently than anybody else who has come danced on that dance floor. But in college, for example, like this episode isn't about me. I'm just trying to relate to you. Um, the other day, I was talking to somebody about the um, the accommodations that are. Oh, it was my neighbor. Her son wants to go to Cambrian College here in Sudbury for heavy equipment operator or something, but he has a learning disability. So I said, I graduated from Cambrian College and as a student with a learning disability or a brain injury and visual impairment, I had systems put in place where I had extra time to write my exams, and the exams were written in like really large font so I could see them. And I had other supports in place, and she didn't know this. So I told her it's the Glenn Crombie Center, and she said, "I'm not going to remember that." So I wrote it down for her, and I said, "Call them. They will help your son." There are a good friend of mine. Also, she's a grieving widow, and she didn't know, like almost 5 years after losing her spouse, that there's counseling in town that's free. How come we don't know about these services that are at our disposal, right? Like, am I going in the right direction? You can stop me anytime.
Well, no, I mean, and that's a great question and a great point. And I think a lot of emphasis needs to be on what's available. It's not to give a person with a disability an advantage. It's to level the playing field. And I
Exactly.
think that's where a semblance of gatekeeping, tends to come in. Well, why do you need this, or how come this is there for you? Because people don't understand. I've heard it called an individualized education plan, confidential academic accommodation plan. Uh, no matter how you word it, those are simply in place to provide equity. Um, I know in Hamilton, there's a semblance of talking about the importance of diversity and inclusion. Uh, our city is just in the process of going through a rebrand, and we're going to transform it into IDEA. And IDEA is an acronym. IDEA stands for inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. And isn't it a good idea when we put
Inclusion,
that together? Diversity, equity, access, IDEA.
access. I love that. That's for which part of the community?
That's for the community at large, because no one person is the same. And as you just talked about, if we were all the same, what fun would that be?
We
You
wouldn't
know,
learn.
I no, I like to challenge myself, and I like other people to challenge me. But if they're gonna push me to a point where they think they want to gatekeep over me, then I'm gonna push back. I'm gonna say my quality of life should not be at your discretion. I decide what my quality of life looks like.
Yeah. And you
And
define it,
yeah,
right?
exactly. I define that quality of life. And the more people want to take my respect, my integrity, my dignity away, the more I'm going to continue to push for it, because no one person is the same.
I like that. You stand up for people.
Standing is overrated.
You said that in one of your messages.
Absolutely.
I love that. That's such
And
a,
I sit by it.
I like that.
Candace, I have to tell you, my cousin, because I do a lot of TV interviews and host a show and whatnot. My cousin asked me to MC her wedding some years ago, and I was there with the mic, and I said, well, essentially, she was initially looking for a stand-up comic,
Okay.
but provide me with a couple of drinks, and I'm certainly to stand up. Uh-oh, there's a spit take going on here. Oh,
No,
you
no, no,
okay?
no.
Okay.
I'm always laughing. I can handle
I
it.
love it. I love it. Yeah, me too.
That's great. See, I can kind of like attest to that. Don't sit or stand or be on this side of me and expect me. like you can expect my full attention because I give full attention when I'm spending time with someone. But
Likewise.
good. But don't expect me to give my full attention while not harming myself by not like looking this way because oh wait, I always screw that up. It's good if the person is next to me because I see from this side. But if I'm on this side and I see them, that's fine.
Yep.
But I don't see on this side. So it's stand on my left.
I I honestly thought you were gonna say when Young and the Restless was on. I can't get your full attention.
Oh my god, I don't watch stuff like that.
I'm kidding. I'm trying to be funny there, Candace.
It's all good. It doesn't know any.
Uh,
See,
yeah.
my joke failed too. So
Oh, it's
one
okay.
for
It's
one
okay. Okay. All right.
for
You
keeping
know,
track.
I did get an interview for a job a few years ago, and I spoke to them as I was in the interview. I said, I think I'm qualified for this job because it doesn't say you must be able to think on your feet.
I like it. Did they laugh?
I knew the people obviously, or else I wouldn't have made that joke. But but the HR person did take a second thought to that because language matters and yeah, communication matters.
100%.
See how I segued there for you?
Yes, it was good. But um, sometimes I ask people, what sets us apart from animals? And they will
Ooh.
respond, you know, since you were segueing,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
it's not our thumbs or our fingers.
no, no. It's our intelligence. I would presume
Close, yes. Language,
language, intelligence, communications. Absolutely.
yes. So you can use that the next time you come across somebody who's not communicating properly, who's an adult. You
Hmm.
can say, well, what sets us apart from animals?
I
Language.
certainly will.
We need to use it properly, whether
Absolutely.
it be on the stage or not. You're,
Correct.
you're my second speaker that I interviewed today.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Very
I
nice.
wanted to ask you what you liked one of my posts from Toastmasters this week, um,
Yeah.
today or yesterday. Are you a member of Toastmasters?
I'm not. I really got into this baptism by fire. I've always been a sit down guy in a stand up sort of way. But I
Stand up comic.
right? Well, standing is overrated.
Right.
But I learned of a person first and the fact that I belong, when I was 8 years old. I went to this camp, Camp Marydale, that wasn't for people with disabilities, but it included people with disabilities. And that was the first time outside of my family and my close group of friends that I was in the community. I was in community by myself. That I was part of their one-to-one program, but I was integrated with camp groups, with kids uh, uh, that some didn't have disabilities, some did, but the integration, the inclusion was so valuable. I'd met a man by the name of John. He stuck out his hand and said, "Hi, my name is John. Welcome to camp." And that hit me so hard. I'm still friends with this guy today. This was when I was 8, and for context, I'm 42 now, so that
Okay.
was 34 years ago. And he and I are incredible friends. He's now the executive director of the new camp because the old camp became too run down and wasn't really wheelchair accessible. I mean, to get around, and I say this tongue in cheekly and sheepishly now, because in today's times it wouldn't be accepted. But I had to, at times, wheel on these campgrounds in a wheelbarrow, and I
Oh
was
my
8 years
gosh.
old I was 8 years old at the time. I had fun. I had a whole bunch of other 8 year olds trying to wheel me around. I built like a little makeshift canopy with like some twigs and like a garbage bag at the top there. I was living the dream, right? So
Right.
obviously today that wouldn't fly. But as that camp get more and more run down, it was time to be proactive. So in early 2004, we found a spot that we could build Marydale Park from scratch. So, I was part of the fundraising committee. I was part of the design group. And in 2013, we launched Ontario's first fully accessible and barrier-free park in Binbrook, Ontario,
What's it
called
called?
Marydale Park. Marydale Park.
Marydale Park.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good for you. You know, we have in common
What's
fundraising.
that?
Fundraising.
Absolutely.
I did fundraising right before the book was published. And once it was published, I was on the board for the March of Dimes, and we built a housing facility for people with acquired brain injury.
Mm-hmm.
And we fundraised so much money. Well, when I was on the board, we fundraised $80,000. We got $2 million from Glenn Thibault, which was a member of parliament over here. So that's federal money, federal,
Mm-hmm.
municipal, something like that. And it's still fully staffed and fully functional, and it houses 11 people with acquired brain injury. So,
Amazing.
yeah, me and you, we give back to the community and we do it from
Absolutely.
the goodness of our heart. I love that.
We do. We do it from the heart. That's awesome.
So, the title of your book is called Above and Beyond.
Right. Now, writing this, in the early 2000s. No intention to publish it.
Okay.
In 2015, and for context, through Mohawk College, they have a TV and radio broadcasting uh, school. One of the teachers, and through my time at Mohawk, first as a student, then as an employee, one of the instructors, the networking, you build that networking, and instructors come up to me and they say, well, Cable 14, which is a local television station here that does Hamilton community stuff, has this show called The Showcase. And, we think you would be a great host. We think you have incredible subject matter for the community to talk about. So 2015, I pitched the idea of Above and Beyond, and I was granted a pilot. From the pilot, it turned into a six show series in which I produced from the background. I was kind of learning the ropes um, in the background and understanding what it would take to actually put a TV show together. From there, I started hosting and co-hosting, and then the third season I hosted virtually, and now we are going into our fourth season in the new year. I'll be co-hosting again virtually. And the virtual aspect, thank you. And the virtual aspect of, being able to do things like we're doing here today has really been a game changer.
Right.
I mean, I don't have credit for it. I can't get any credit for it because the Brady Bunch were the inaugural Zoom call. If you know the opening of the Brady Bunch, you see all the faces in the
Yeah.
so they were the inaugural Zoom call. So we just followed suit from the Brady Bunch.
What's the show
So
about?
the show is about different aspects of community and disability and inclusion. Like as a kid, I played sledge hockey and challenger baseball. So we had members from the organizations of challenger baseball and sledge hockey on it. We've had conversation about disability justice. We've had conversations about uh, college life as a person with a disability. In Hamilton, they have the accessible media production program that's on hiatus now for a little bit, but it's a program that I started. As I continue to evolve in the aspect of talking and social media as the things as it continues to grow that way. Um, it's various topics about disability inclusion, equity. Understanding that where there's a win for accessibility and inclusion, there's a win for collective prosperity. That's what I always like to say. I've had a mother-daughter combination on where this mother has where the daughter has a form of autism, a child with a disability who is nonverbal.
Okay, so it's a
You know,
talk
having
show.
it's a talk show basically.
Okay. What's it called?
It's called Above and Beyond. Everything is under the Above and Beyond umbrella.
So that's a brand,
Mm-hmm.
and it's your brand.
That's my brand, correct?
You're kind of a rock star.
I try, I try.
Good
Oh, and
for
there's a book. Oh, I there's a book here, sorted.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go.
nice.
That's my memoir as well. So everything is all inclusive about what I do. And as you can see, I'm going to use my pointer here. These wheelchair accessible symbols, that's called the dynamic symbol of access. So that's from an organization called the Forward Movement. They brought it to Canada from the US, which is called in the US the Accessible Icon Project. We are changing the way accessibility and inclusion looks like by rather than just a standard stagnant symbol of a person sitting in a wheelchair being still, the wheelchair is moving. This is making a proactive statement about accessibility, about inclusion, about equity, diversity.
When you say equity, what do you mean?
Equity is people getting what their needs or having their needs met versus everybody getting everything. I have different needs than somebody else with a different disability. I have my respect for my integrity, my passion for independence, and that's what it looks like for me. Whereas somebody who has different needs requires different accommodations. Let's use back that word again, accommodations that are different than mine, gets what that needs those needs to meet what they need, if that makes sense.
I think so. Hmm.
Basically, to sum it up, it's one size does not fit all.
Right. I like that, the changing the way inclusion looks like. Tell
Yeah,
me,
it's an organization. The organization is called the Forward Movement. I joined in 2018, just after Hamilton adopted the dynamic symbol of access, and it's currently in the process of being adopted at the provincial level. But many municipalities within Ontario have adopted it. Now, I didn't do my research. I do apologize. I don't know if your area has adopted it as well.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. That's something to look into.
So we paint parking spots as well with that new symbol as well, like the handicap parking spot with that new dynamic symbol, and to get that message out.
And that started in Hamilton.
No, it didn't start in Hamilton. It started in Toronto, actually. Two gentlemen brought it from the US to Hamilton, called it the Forward Movement, and here we are today.
Wow. You're building quite the legacy for yourself.
You use the perfect word. I'm gonna transition into that. See, we're segueing off of each other here.
Oh,
I
are
love
we?
that.
Who's running the show here?
Well, you know what? I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'll
you
let
go
you
ahead,
run
kid.
with it. I'll let you run
No,
with it.
I like it. I like it, Candace,
I
because
like that.
legacy is so important to my brand. Because
Okay.
as I mentioned earlier, I want to pave the way so that the children with disabilities now don't have to go through the barriers that people with disabilities currently face. We need to eradicate the gatekeeping. We need to eradicate the ableism, the elitism.
Hmm. You must I so recommend Toastmasters to everybody I meet. But people like you who already have that, you have a niche market. You have a niche market already. You're already involved in your community. You're speaking up. You're an advocate. You would be such a good mentor and such a good advocate for and in Toastmasters. And Toastmasters is a global organization. There's Toastmasters in Hamilton, I assure you
Yes,
that.
there is. There is. I have a good friend who has taken Toastmasters in Hamilton to amplify
Awesome.
his voice as well. He also identifies as a person with a disability as well. I'm on our city's advisory committee for persons with disabilities. We have
Okay.
several subcommittees as well. And we're trying to be change makers. We're trying to trailblaze, pioneer, lead the way for the future generation. That legacy, as you just alluded to earlier. I think it's important that, and I take this very seriously. People just say, well, I'm a person with a disability, or I just want to be me, and that's fine. But there's other people who want to trailblaze the future for equity, and people without disabilities don't get to decide what the needs for people with disabilities are. They
Right.
can work with us. They can help us. They can be part of the solution with us. But it has to be a dual conversation. It can't be one-sided.
Right. And that's why we need advocates like you in your position.
Yeah, I mean, and other things that I do is I'm also the volunteer director of media relations for the Ontario Disability Coalition. So we advocate at Queen's Park, for ODSP increases, for adequate, above adequate and substantial, nursing availability for kids with disabilities who require that in schools, proper EAs, proper education tools. Nobody left behind. The Rick Hansen Foundation's motto is everybody everywhere.
I saw
Nothing
that.
about us without us.
I saw that
And
online.
yeah, yeah. And continuing that movement, continuing that passion, continuing that voice, Candace, is paramount. And when I say voice, I don't mean it in the verbal sense. I mean it in the sense that a voice has to be accommodated or accompanied by action. We can talk the talk, but can we walk the walk? Can we show what we can be about? The pandemic has taught us a lot of things. People with disabilities, for the most part, were left behind. If you didn't have technology or didn't know how to use technology, um, again, you were left behind. Even advocating for, and I'm not going to get into details about it, like the vaccine, for example, transitioning to an online source. David Lepofsky, who is a human rights lawyer out of Toronto, Ontario, that's visually impaired. He helped trailblaze, registering and renewing health cards online for people with disabilities who couldn't drive, because if you were renewing your health card online, you needed to have a driver's license. Well, many people with disabilities do not, and Ontario has the photo ID card as
Yeah.
a subsequent replacement and valid information for people who could drive. But
Right.
that was not accepted for the longest time.
That drives me bonkers. It's legitimate. It's equivalent to a passport. It's proper government identification.
Exactly.
And with like, I remember when I turned 19 years old, I went out to the bar, even though I didn't drink. I went out to a bar with some girlfriends and I showed my health card because I didn't have a driver's license and they denied me. So then I eventually got the photo ID card and people recognize it more now because you
Absolutely.
can use it at the post office, you can use it at the LCBO anywhere.
Yep.
But some people will still kind of give some flack for that. Like I'm not gonna name many names, but remember when we used to rent movies
Yep.
at the video store. Well, I couldn't rent a movie or start an account because I didn't have a driver's license because I don't see very well. I had
Hmm.
my photo ID card and they wouldn't take it.
Oh
I
wow.
was, yeah, I was, that's not cool.
No, no, and I hear you, and I see you, and I understand you, and that's things like that for me. Like I had a health card for like the longest time where it wasn't accepted as valid ID.
Right. And
You
well,
know,
did you get flack for that too?
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I was denied, a drink at a bar and or things of that nature because I didn't have a valid quote unquote ID to
Right.
define how old I was. Like, I mean,
Like,
for the time I had to bring my passport to use it with the health card because that would have been accepted.
right. That is, that's frustrating because yes, obviously you don't drive,
Right.
but like, I'm saying that it would be obvious to people to see you sitting in a wheelchair, but it's not obvious to those people that I don't drive because they don't see my visual impairment because it
Right.
people and
No,
their
I
assumptions that it drives me nuts.
yeah, you know what? Assumptive, we have to alleviate the assumptive based mindset. We need to be proactive rather than reactive.
How do we teach that? Should we teach that in schools?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Right?
I I think that's more of a life skill rather than a teachable skill. And I think that's something that you acquire over the surroundings that are around you.
Right.
Setting the example for you.
It's a teachable moment.
Teachable moment, but
Right?
a life skill to exactly. I see what you're saying. I like that. Yeah, good call.
We should be proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah, it's
Like that.
far too often, going back to what I said earlier about nothing about us without us. According to the Rick Hansen Foundation, the cost of a new build to a building to build it with the accessible gold certification standard with the Rick Hansen Foundation is 1% more to the actual cost of building the building itself, rather than having to retrofit accessibility into an existing build. The cost is significantly more.
And so the Rick Hansen Foundation, what kind of building is that? People for that live with
Eh,
disabilities?
no, no, the Rick Hansen Foundation is an organization that started in 1993, I believe. Rick Hansen himself sustained a spinal cord injury at the age of 15 that left him using a wheelchair there on after. From 1986 to 1988, he embarked on his world famous Man in Motion tour
Yeah.
over 26 months, 34 countries, and 40,000 kilometers to spread the word about spinal cord injury, accessibility, and inclusion. Nothing about us without us.
Are you
I
reading this
feel
or do you know this?
no, I know this
That's
because Rick is my mentor. No, I'm not reading anything. This is not verbatim. Or sorry, this is, me. This is off the cuff for me because
okay.
I know this. I appreciate this. I appreciate Rick. I've never met him. That's on my bucket list. I've heard he's come through my city uh, a few times, and he's been in Toronto a few times as well. But when I got my show to start the seasons, in season one, Rick Hansen and his foundation penned a letter for me that was read on the air for the first show about the inaugural show Above and Beyond and what the future would hold. Championing accessibility, championing inclusion, championing trailblazing, pioneer, being a leader in change.
Good for you. How did that make you feel?
You know, it was phenomenal. In 2007, they had 2011, they had the Rick Hansen Foundation's 25th anniversary of the Man in Motion tour. So in Hamilton, I was one of the difference makers, as they called it. So I got to carry the torch as part of a little bit of a leg that he did coming through Hamilton. So this was a cross Canada uh, a tour where his difference makers, change makers, leaders got to take a piece of his journey with him. So I was part of the end of day celebration. It was actually at the place that I work at, Mohawk College. Pardon me. Um, and it's a labor of love what I do and who I am. You know,
I know what that feels like. I've
absolutely.
my whole life is a labor of love, and that's why I don't profit off of it. I was talking to a fellow author friend of mine on the phone earlier, and he was saying that we're gonna make it big because he's a creator and author as well, and he has big dreams. And he says, "Well, one day we're gonna be on the beach one day when we make it big." And then I said, "And we're gonna say, remember when?" And he says, "Yeah, but hopefully it's not like the shore of Ramsey Lake." Like drinking juice boxes. I said, I live on Nep1, which is right next door. And we just kind of laughed about that because when he got into his business, it wasn't about the money. And when I got into my business, it wasn't about the money. And just because we haven't made it big yet, like we're still young. Like I'm 37 years old. Like there's still a few decades for me to create to allow me to build what I'm building now and still give back to the community as much as I can.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've done recently was this past May, I put my name down into city council to run for city councilor. I wasn't successful. I mean, throughout the journey, the canvassing was the tough part for myself with as a wheelchair user. Getting to the houses, getting where I needed to be, having to get transportation, and that's a whole other issue in and of itself, transportation. But just kind of getting out there and getting to the masses. I wanted to use, and I say this with respect, my interviews, my show, my brand on TV as part of the campaign. I had events where I could get community members to come to me. That was an accessible space. We had to pivot at one point because the canvassing was too challenging. At one point where I was wheeling along the sidewalk and I hit a little bit of a lip, which caused my wheelchair to tumble forward. Now I'm stubborn as stubborn can be. You fall down, you get back up. But in retrospect, learning about that as being a challenge and as a barrier for someone with a visible physical disability running for office really garnered a lot of attention in the community. It wasn't only myself; there was a lot of other members of the disability community uh, that ran for city council. And whether it be visible or invisible, but getting that message out there, I think has long term uh, solutions going forward.
Good. Are you going to run for office again?
Well, that's to be continued. Dun
Okay.
dun dun.
Dun dun dun. I like it. Good. Keep us in suspense. I like it. What's the next big idea?
See, I like it. See, we feed off each other well.
That is
The next big
president.
idea. The next big idea is uh, I'm in progress right now. This is breaking news. Um,
Okay.
I'm going to be writing a children's book on the power of belonging. I talk about the power of allyship, the power of inclusion, but the power of belonging. Because as I told that story firsthand about meeting John, he taught me that I belong. He taught me that the community wasn't big enough for me not to belong. So I took the reins and I went with it. I continued to grow and um, be grateful for that, and that's why I speak about gratitude so often. It goes to the point where for me, one of the other initiatives that I'm a part of is I volunteer with kids with disabilities as part of a cheerleading squad. So these are all kids with different disabilities, and I'm with them as this 42-year-old man, and these kids, different age groups, up to maybe 20, give or take, as low as 4 or 5, and I'm with them because I'm not going to be on the sidelines. I'm going to be with them, showing them that the power of belonging, the power of inclusion, is no match for the society that awaits you going forward. They've had conversations with me. What's it like? Can you give me some tips? Can you give me some pointers? Can you mentor me? Because you talked about the mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do a lot of what I do so often, Candace, that I don't even, fall back and recognize the fact that I'm mentoring somebody. You
Right. It
know,
it seems like it comes second nature to you. Like you would
bingo,
step in and say, "Well, you know what? I can help you with that because been there, done that. Let me share my knowledge with you."
absolutely. You
I
know,
I
I mean parents,
recently too.
parents and of these children now, the parents that I went to school with, I haven't seen for years. And then their parents coming to me, and then people are recognizing me on social media. You're the above and beyond guy locally. That's me. I announced my show's coming back. This past weekend, I had a crazy weekend because this TV station allowed me to do an above and beyond 1 hour special. So I had the chair of the advisory committee for persons with disabilities, along with myself, and the director of policy for the Ontario Disability Coalition. And we had a retrospective, past, present, future look on what disability was like, what it's like today, and what we hope for the future. And the biggest barrier that will always come down to, and I'm not sure how it is in your area, but the biggest barrier is transportation.
Yes. Yes, that is a barrier. I know that I make it work, but like I limp around town and like I say I don't have trouble getting around. But yes, transportation is a pain for many people.
Yeah, the accountability is the problem. We have jobs, we have to be at appointments. Why can't we get a reliable transportation to support us to get from point A to point B?
Right. And
Yes, it's a shared ride service. I understand that. But when the logistics of the ride doesn't make sense, that's where I step in and, I try to put my foot down.
are you talking about handy transit,
In Hamilton, it's called darts, but yeah, paratransit.
air transit,
Paratransit, yeah.
paratransit? Okay, sorry. Okay. It's different in every city, I guess.
Oh yeah. I think the overall term though is called paratransit. Ours
Par-
is called DARTS, which is an acronym that stands for Disabled and Aged Regional Transit System.
Disabled.
And Aged Regional Transit System.
Thank you.
No problem. You just shut me up at any time, Candace. I could go all night.
No, no, we have 15 more minutes left. You're the one
Oh,
who,
that's it.
yeah. 'Cause
That's it.
well, we might go overtime. It's fine.
This is fun, Candace.
It is. Oh, thank you. I'm glad when my guests are having fun because I like to make it fun.
Always.
Nothing is scripted. I don't edit anything. That's why I
Uh
tell people
oh.
to watch your mouth because this is a family show and I don't edit anything. It's a candid moment. I record my Zoom, upload it to my website. How fun is that? I get to meet exceptional people with exceptional stories who are doing exceptional work in their communities. I'm so blessed that I connect people through stories. I didn't
Oh,
start
I know.
didn't start
And
that way, but
your work is phenomenal too. I've done my research over on you over the last couple of days too.
what'd you find?
And well, again, I have to censor myself here. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You're smart.
Well, yeah. Um, no, it's and you got mugs for your brand as well.
Yeah,
I've
well,
got
just
mugs as
one.
well.
Just one. Yeah,
Uh,
it's got lipstick on the side, but it's like my logo there, like candid moments. Yeah, I
Very
like it with
cool.
my initials here. I like it.
Very cool.
Marketing, right?
Yeah, yeah. And this is the TV station that I'm on. It's called Cable 14.
Table 14. I like it.
Yeah. So, and that's what and that's how I got this start. And then I just kind of just went with it. More and more people saw the accessibility and inclusion need to be amplified. And it's the biggest part of this process is trying to eradicate the elitism, the ableism. Trying to attain, sustain, and maintain a quality of life that we want. Nothing that is gate kept for us. You know,
Is that how do we do that?
if I had the answer, Candice,
Yeah,
we'd.
sorry. Yeah,
It's
there are stupid questions out there, and often I ask them. I apologize.
no, it's not. No, there's no such thing as a stupid question. There's
Yes, there
no such
are.
thing as a stupid.
Yes, there
No,
are.
no, no, no. You know, I talk about the importance of allyship. And when we have those conversations, the more adversarial people are, the longer it takes for inclusion and accessibility to happen. Well, why do you need this? A lot of the biggest barriers are the perception versus reality of cost. When you build with accessibility and inclusion at the front of mind rather than an afterthought, the cost is significantly less. I talked about the structures and the buildings earlier, but just the tangible and intangible idea. There we go again with that buzzword idea. Uh, how important that is.
Which buzzword?
Idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I have one more acronym for you.
Okay.
Mice, not MICE, MIICEE.
MII.
CEE.
Okay.
Motivation, innovation,
Wait. Innovation.
inspiration. And I'm going to talk about inspiration in a second.
Okay.
Celebration, education.
Education.
And
Okay.
do you know what that finally is?
Excellence.
Empowerment.
Ah, empowerment.
You were close. That's another acronym that I use.
I like that. You are full of it. You are full of it, Anthony. You are full of mice. Motivation, innovation, inspiration, celebrate. Is it or
Celebration.
celebration,
You know,
education, and empowerment.
yeah.
I love that I get to celebrate you today. And I just
It's
met you.
not. You're not celebrating me. We're celebrating each other.
Yes, and we're
We
celebrating
are. We are.
together.
We're celebrating our inaugural meeting and the first of many
Perfect.
because
Yep,
I like this vibe. I like this vibe. I like this back and forth banter that
I
we
like it.
have.
I like it too. Hey, if you're ever in town, I'm gonna bring you to a Toastmaster meeting.
Sounds good. Sounds
Okay.
good. Yeah, and I think everything that has encompassed my journey along the way, has allowed me to be inducted as a member of the Order of Hamilton. I'm also a member of the college's alumni of distinction. I carried the Pan Am Games torch in 2015. I
That's
was a Rick Hansen difference maker in 2011. Amity Goodwill Award winner. The first two-time Catholic youth organization, that camp that I was referring to, honorary camper in 93 and 94.
that's
Everything has
incredible. So the kids in your community, the kids at the camps, the kids watching your show, the kids you speak to, what kind of impact or impression do you have on them?
I gotta say, first and foremost, I love talking to kids because generally speaking, even when I'm out in the community, just doing errands, for example, I'll bring a bundle buggy with me. I'll do my shopping that way. And for reference, it's just a basic shopping cart because I can't carry bags and whatnot, especially now transitioning into the semblance of paper bags. That makes it even worse to carry when you're a manual wheelchair user.
Right.
So I fought for it, and I'm now able to bring a bundle buggy on paratransit independently. Um, and I
Mhm.
can wheel it on level ground. But when I'm in the community, when I'm in a shopping mall, or when I'm doing my errands, and I see families and kids will look at me, they'll sheepishly stare. They'll say, "What's wrong with you?" Or things like that are unfiltered.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it because questions lead to answers, answers lead to conversation leads to understanding, and understanding leads to less ignorance. An
that's ignorance.
understanding
So, education.
bingo that's in mice.
Yes. So you're teaching someone today,
Absolutely.
which turns into empowerment.
They see, you see how the flow goes now? You
I'm
see, yeah, you got it.
just being a smartass because I know, like the other day, I said something like, "Oh, the student has become the teacher," and I just kind of roll with it.
I'm always rolling, so I get you.
I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. My nickname is Butter because I am always on a roll.
That's cute. I like it. I don't have any smart ones like that. Well, maybe I do, and I don't know. Maybe it will come to me.
All right, I love it.
So, is that the title of this children's book, Belonging?
It's going to be the power of belonging, or
I
because I
want,
belong,
pardon?
or because I belong. It's still a working title, a working in progress.
Are you writing it now?
Yeah, I've been putting it together. It's one-liners. Basically, I belong in college. I belong with my class. I belong in sports. I belong going to watch my favorite team. I belong volunteering. I belong at work. I belong in community, and so do you.
Oh, I like that. And it's for like young children.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Early,
I want to buy a
early.
copy.
You got it. You got it. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted.
Okay, thanks. How did you go about publishing Above and Beyond?
Above and beyond really, kind of grew as the brand continued to grow with the TV show. And I had started it, and I'd met a friend who um, has some connections within the publishing world, and he introduced me to a couple people, and we published it that way.
Did you self-publish?
Yeah, to some degree, yeah. I
Yeah,
published through his publishing company.
right. I did that, but I made a mistake. I didn't know,
Oh,
young and silly or inexperienced, and I did not publish Canadian just because
okay.
I have a few friends who published with said publisher, and they said we're gonna get your name in front of big decision makers and producers, and they're gonna make a movie on your book. And okay, so I was sold because I'm naive and whatever the list
Yep.
this goes on. I published with them, fine, but then I was suckered into paying for the marketing, which these days, when my friends say, "Hey, I'm going to publish a book. How did you go about doing it? Do you have any tips?" Yeah, publish Canadian and market your book yourself. We have social
Yep.
media. There's no need to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to market a book that you can market for free.
Yep.
But I know that now, so I'm able to teach other people what not to do. So I guess it was a teachable moment.
And that's what it is. It's marketing yourself and under a brand.
Yeah.
How you have Candid Moments. So it's under the Candid Moments brand, I would assume,
Uh,
no?
no, because the book is changed by the rain. Life after a
Yeah.
brain injury.
It still could be under the Candid Moments brand.
Well, it's under Candace Kirkbride. She's the brand. She
So Candace Kirkbride is the brand itself. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
good
think
too.
so. Because I am my message. I always think that
Right.
I need to be hiring someone to be doing. No, I speak for myself. I'm always promoting
Turn
my
your mess into a message.
pardon.
Turn
Turning.
your mess into a message.
Yes, yes, I've heard that often. You should be a Toastmaster. I think you can give back so much, but you're already
Yeah,
like so busy.
yeah, and I've looked into it. I've had conversation with a friend who's in Toastmasters. It's like it's this whole above and beyond brand has really been a baptism by fire.
When
I
you
never went to school. I never went to school for
baptism,
TV. By fire. Just kind of throwing myself into it, and it's either sink or swim. You know, and I will see
right?
this is and you either sink or swim. And I know that for me, that I there's times where I'm trying to stay afloat, and then there are other times where I'm getting calls on the regular from different TV stations, different radio stations to talk about different issues that people with disabilities face.
So
You know,
are you?
living live
Go ahead.
sorry,
Okay.
living people with disabilities and poverty. It's understanding that disability people with disabilities should be born into legislated poverty.
Yeah, there needs to be a change with that.
People on ODSP, it's now what 12.28 for a single income user. You can't do anything for 12.28.
No,
The
the
cost of living is going up.
the cost of food, the cost of everything,
Yep.
inflation of everything.
Shelter.
Yeah.
Yep.
My rent is going up in January. I got that letter a few months ago.
Okay. Yeah, I think mine's gonna go up in March when mine is due.
Yeah, I think in January for us. Huh. And that doesn't help anybody.
No.
Baptized by fire.
Baptism by fire.
Baptism. Baptism.
Yeah.
Baptism.
But I threw myself in there. Like I literally it was the community's response to the show that really ignited this movement. In 2015, when this whole thing got started, after the show did its pilot, I actually worked with a student who was taking journalism and PR at the college that I work at, and we taught each other, and we're still good friends to this day. Um, and she's moved on, and she still supports me. She was just at my campaign watch party for the election on election night.
Nice.
And she's just a great person overall that really supports me. And I've had, and I talk about my best friend that I've known since I was 6 years old. Sorry, 8 years old. In school, we've known each other, and he's stuck by my side ever since. The disability didn't matter. You get that semblance in the community where you're a person with a disability, so you belong here. We
No,
all
that's
belong together. Oh, I
that's
know.
true friendship that those people
Absolutely.
stand by you. So 8 years old, going back to 8 years
Yep.
old, and it's in my book.
Absolutely.
That little girl that I met in class in grade 3 at 8 years old, 90. No, uh,
88.
no,
Nope.
85, 93,
Nice.
93.
Okay.
Um, yeah, she is still my best friend. Stood by
Amazing.
me through everything. She actually breathed life back into my body. And
Amazing.
her little girl, I spoke to on the phone the other day. I love that kid. Um, sorry. She just turned 12 and she's such a smart young woman. Her middle
Amazing.
Her middle name is Candace. Her name is Naomi, and she has long black curly hair, big brown eyes. And I say, babe, why do you have my name? You look nothing like me. She says, because I'm mom's baby. I said, I know, but why do you have my name? She says, because you're mommy's best friend. I said, you're right, honey. Yes.
Nah.
And I talked to her yesterday. We have our weekly chats, sometimes a few times a week, which doesn't live too far from me. But during the pandemic, I didn't really see her, and it was really hard. And that kid, her daughter is growing up right before our eyes. But you know, I love Natalie so much, like since 8 years old. And then when
Yep.
I went
I
back
know
to
the feeling.
school with all my like difficulties and all my transforming into this new woman, she for the most part, she was there. It was hard. We talk about it, but those were some hard years. Sorry, I just
That's okay. In life, there are no problems, only solutions waiting to be found. I
right.
can't come up with those solutions for you, Candace. You're the one that's got to come up with those solutions. And who cares what other people think? They're the solutions that work best for you. And
Yeah, well,
that's what people need
just
to embrace.
yeah, I'm just a feeling human.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right.
I hope
And a
God
good human.
well, thank you. I'm okay. I have my moments.
Oh, stop it.
It's true.
You're you're a good human. And
I
I respect that. And
well,
this has
thank
been a lot of fun. You're a lot of fun.
thank you. So are you. You have
Oh,
cheeky little jokes. I like it.
I try. It's
No, it's you either have it or you don't. You know what I mean? When people say, "Oh, I try." No, you're either a good speaker, your jokes either suck or it just naturally to you and you joke and you love from your being and it comes natural. I don't know, it's fun.
yeah,
We're
I
all differently abled.
yeah, and that's a great point. Yeah, we all have a difference of ability,
Yes.
and I think the problem is people tend to want to focus on the proverbial norm and try to want to replicate that or try to be as close to that as possible rather than understanding people's different abilities. We all face challenges, big or small, but it's not the solutions, it's the steps that we take to overcome those challenges are the biggest takeaways for me
I love
because
that.
it's going to look different for everybody. I've got cliches. If I've got a ton of those, but cliches to me are actual words that I live by. When I went to this, I started cheerleading with this cheer squad. I was asked to volunteer at an event, which was a super crawl for kids with disabilities. I saw on the same night this cheer squad happening, and I have been stuck there ever since.
So do you coach them?
I don't coach. No, no, I'm just part of cheerleading with them. Like there's actual Hamilton Tiger Cat cheerleader coaches and alumni that coach. I just cheer with them. I'm just
That's
alongside
awesome.
with them. Like we've cheered at Ticats games, we've cheered at basketball games,
Are they all women?
all community events. No, no, there's men and women.
Oh,
There's
okay.
guys and girls. Now, come on, Candace. I'm not that kind of guy that's just gonna be around there for all the women. You come on. What are you gonna make me
Well, it'd be
for?
kind of a score for you, right? You'd be the ladies' man.
Well, I am Italian, that's a
Oh,
different episode of Candid Moments. That's after
no,
dark Candid Moments. See, I got something for you. Candid Moments after dark. Okay, see? There you go.
we don't air those episodes. We don't film. We don't film those. You walked right into that one.
Well, I didn't walk into anything. I rolled into it.
Oh,
That's so
you're
fun.
funny. You have a good sense of humor.
Oh, thank you.
What you see, we're either blessed with a good sense of humor or we're not. Do you think that that's something that's ingrained in, like, is it taught? What, like, if your parents taught you to be silly and just to just, I don't know, or do you think it's in your blood?
You
Is it
know,
a learned behavior, humor, or is it going through adversity teaches you to not take life so seriously,
there's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. One
right?
of my mottos, here's another one for you.
Okay.
Designed to sit, made to stand out.
Love it.
So that's kind of the mantra and the motto that I use throughout the campaign trail. And that's something that's kind of stuck with me. It's designed to sit, made to stand out. To me, is just being authentically and genuinely who I am. I don't go every day like to try to impress people. I don't want people to think that they need to impress me. I want people to be authentically and genuinely them. And I'm going to be authentically and genuinely myself. So you either like me or you don't. Either
And
way,
the
it's quite all right.
and the right people will like you for genuinely you.
Exactly. Exactly.
I like that. And I see more clearly now than I ever did. Even being, I'm not gonna sing the song, but like I see clearly now. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Maybe I
Took me a
should have
second
sang
there.
it. It would have
I
come
can
through.
see clearly
See
now the
now, the
rain is
rain has
gone.
gone.
I was part of our vocal team in high school as well. We actually took trips to Montreal and Chicago.
Oh,
I don't
cool.
have the I don't have the vocals that I did back in high school, but I can throw down a tune every now and then.
Fun. Cool.
You know,
I
I
haven't done,
will say this.
yeah.
I will say this though. When we were in Chicago, and funny story, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and kids will be kids at in high school. My friends and I were hungry, so 2 in the morning we went to a local McDonald's that was closed, but the drive-through was open. We didn't have cars because we were there, so I drove through with my wheelchair. It doesn't say drive through with motorized vehicle. It just says drive through. So I drove through with a $200 order, basically with like a whole bunch of friends of mine. And they were like, what the heck? Right. So what's he ordering? We ordered like $200 worth of McDonald's. Everybody's giving me money and whatnot. And I pull up to the drive through and because there's a sensor on the tire, is that's what recognizes that there's somebody there.
That's awesome.
And I got to the window and they're looking the one, and then they look down because that the window is higher up, and they just start howling. Right, it took them a while to get that order together. It ended up getting together and pretty much done by like quarter to three because everybody had like different orders and whatnot. So they start handing the order down, passing it out to people. We're all there. My friends are like, cheering me on. Yes, yes, go, go, go. So,
And they served you.
and they served me,
That's awesome. Oh,
right?
good for you. One summer, a girlfriend of mine and I, She's from my neighborhood. We used our bicycles and we went through the Dairy Queen drive-through, and they would not serve us, and we were pretty disappointed because we rode our bikes all the way there. It was a few kilometers away from home, and we didn't get our ice cream, so
Ah,
we were disappointed.
ah.
That's cool that they served you though. That's
That
awesome.
was very cool of them, and,
Yeah.
and just to see all of my friends' reactions and whatnot too, and and in high school I actually took the class, a vocal class, and I had to sing uh, "I'll Be There" by Mariah Carey as
Oh,
my final song, right? And
okay.
I scored an 88% on it, so I was happy.
Good for you.
But let alone sitting down, not being able to reach down in your vocals and your diaphragm properly to get an 88 is one of my proudest moments.
Good for you. What what year was that?
96.
Good for you. One of my proudest moments was 2006. Was it 16? Um, yeah. Yeah, I went to the Dominican with my family for my uncle's wedding, and my dad had never seen me dance before except for at a wedding. Um, so he knew I was taking dance lessons, but he had never seen what his baby girl could do, right? So
Mhm.
I was dancing with one of the locals, and he said, and I'm so proud of this. Like I tell the story all the time. I don't know if I've told it on my show or not, but he said, "Where are you from?" No, no, wait. He said, "Are you Dominican?" I said, "No." "Do I look Dominican?" He said, "Well, where are you from?" I said, "Sudbury, Ontario, Canada." "Do you know where that is?" "It's very cold there, way up where the friggin' polar bears live." He says, "Well, you dance pretty good for a white girl." I was like, "Oh, yes. I'm going to tell my teacher that you said that." Oh my God. Like, I could die a happy woman. Like, I'm not ready yet, but yeah, that was a proud moment for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, not too shabby, right?
There you go.
Yeah. So my dad was like, "Yeah, I can see it."
Very cool. Very cool.
When you work towards something, right? When you practice your craft day in and day out,
Yeah, and when it'll get to a point where it just comes naturally to you. Just
it
say,
I can close my eyes. I was in dance class yesterday, and I told my partner, okay, like the tango, I haven't done that in a few years. So we were trying to. It's like a push and pull kind of dynamic. I don't want to talk about it, but when it came to salsa, he said, "Wow, the salsa." "Yeah, it's five, 6, 7, 8. Come on, let's do it." And I said, "I can close my eyes. You want me to close my eyes? I'll close my eyes and like prove to you that I can do the salsa in my sleep." But I'm just
that's
being smart.
amazing.
But I'm just being a smarty pants, right? And he's like, I don't think he appreciated it because he's like, "Oh, I have to learn." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not the teacher. You're the leader. You are our leader. You need to lead us." He,
Oh, dance class. I remember dance class.
yeah.
My when my buddy got married, that same gentleman that I was telling you about that I've known since I was 8 years old, him and
What's his name?
his name is Nick. Nick. He got married, and then another couple got married. So when this first couple got married, they're no longer married, so I won't mention any names. But they asked us, my friend Nick and his wife, and another couple, just to be like part of the dance party and actually take dance lessons, so we could actually do something on the wedding floor the day of the wedding. So I was actually dancing with my buddy's wife, and we had to be innovative and creative at it. We went through the whole dance studio and whatnot too. So we had to be innovative and creative. So we grabbed a stick, basically, with just a long stick that kind of helped us do like fast movements and pushes and pulls and whatnot. I was, a lot. lighter in those days, so I could move a little bit easier than I can now. But
In a
just
wheelchair?
in the wheelchair, I danced with his wife as my partner, doing these dance moves and whatnot, utilizing the stick because the arm's length between you and your partner, will cause the wheelchair to break some ankles. So
Right.
we had to pivot, and this is about thinking of solutions that work. It may, what, it may be unorthodox, but it worked. This long stick, allowed me to twirl her around with the stick and twirled myself around, and we did certain things where we were on the side as opposed to right in front of them, and
Did you
it's just things
record
like
it?
that. Oh, we haven't. It's been so long. It's probably gone because they're no longer married. This couple.
Oh, but like, did someone film it?
They probably did. This was oh gosh, late early 2000s.
Oh, with the big, remember the big camcorder
Yeah.
you would put it on your
Uh-huh.
shoulder?
Yep. Basically one of those.
We had a couple
The
family
whole
members that
the
had
whole
one.
VHS and whatnot, and I don't think they
Yeah,
exist anymore.
VHS were awesome, except when it got like the film got stuck in the VCR and you pull it out and you'd have to, like,
Wind it with your fingers. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
with the
Exactly.
tape too.
Exactly.
Yeah, hey, those
Yeah.
were good old days. I miss those.
Right?
There was no like, no, I called from the home phone to see if my friend was home, or I would walk down the street and go see them. But there was no like, we're
Cell
so,
phones.
you know what? Spending time with you, I have not looked at my phone once, and I don't have a need to.
Ooh,
It's on silent. I don't
yeah.
need to because I'm doing something
Right.
productive. Like when I'm in dance
Yeah.
class, I'm not looking at my phone. We need to like take up new hobbies, you know?
Right. I'm old when I'm going to say kids nowadays.
Oh, you're in your 40s. Give me a break. 40s the new 25. Come on, we're young.
Oh,
You don't like being 42? Don't you want to like be like an old man one day and be like, now I can
hey,
say, oh, kids.
I expedited the process. I got the wheelchair at 12. All right.
So you
Come,
want me
come on, get.
so, so you want me to just say, okay, so now you're an old man now?
Well, that was supposed to be a joke that you were supposed to catch on to. You when you get older, you typically use mobility aids, mobility devices to
Oh,
navigate. Arthritis, osteoporosis are typical. When it comes to the aging process. So I said I expedited it. I got it at 12. Come on.
sorry. Sometimes it goes over me like 747.
There you go. Speaking of 747, oh, it's only 7:45. That would have been perfect.
Oh, it's
That would have been
7:48. It's on my
oh,
laptop, 7:48. Oh,
that would have
seven
been perfect.
forty-five on my phone. You're funny.
Right?
I love it. Were
Uh,
you were you telling me to wrap it up? Because you're like, well,
no,
speaking of 747,
no, I'm having too much fun.
no, I know, me too. You are funny.
This is too early.
It
It's
is.
7:40,
It's
right?
right.
It's like I guess for me, Candace, I'm genuinely me. I get involved with different types of board of directors now because people recognize my name from the community. I've been asked to be on an organization that employs or helps people with disabilities maintain or attain, maintain, and sustain employment through this organization, and this specifically for people with disabilities. There's that avenue, that aspect of it. There's different other organizations that have asked me. Catholic Children's Aid Society have asked me to be on their board,
So when okay
on their boards.
on the board of directors, uh,
Correct.
like the speaking side of things, do you get like paid gigs often? Like I know we're just
I'm
out of the pandemic.
right. I've gotten a lot of honorarium based gigs. Um, with the with the Ontario Disability Coalition, we're now meeting with the city of Toronto to organize some sort of greater, meetings that have, we talk about sidewalks, for example, the uh, the availability and construction along sidewalks, public safety,
Yeah.
walkways, pathways, sidewalks, you know, curb
You're,
cuts.
you could,
They're dangerous.
oh my God. Okay. Have you ever been to my city?
I have not.
You could lose a child in the potholes. They're so big.
Oh, wow.
True.
I want a picture of this. We're gonna talk offline, Candace. I want a picture.
No, the potholes are so bad here. We're known. There was a couple people here from Canada's Worst Driver show.
Yes, I
We're
remember that.
Yeah, but we are known for we're within the top 10 of the worst roads in the world. It's terrible. It's
Oh, I'm close second. Hamilton's there too. I mean,
Are
speaking of
you?
potholes, you can go down one side of the pothole, and come up the other end. That's that's how we got. Those are our potholes. Hey, Anthony, where'd you go? I'm coming, guys. You just gotta go with the pothole with just enough speed and take the dip at a certain angle so that you have enough momentum to get you up and out the other side.
That takes precision.
That takes something. Might take a whirly pop or two to do that too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You shouldn't be hey, that's driving because you shouldn't be
That's
drinking and
drinking and
driving.
driving. Absolutely. On a Friday night, you never know.
Oh my gosh. So right before the pandemic, I quit drinking. So at the end of February of 20.
Uh-huh.
So in February it's going to be 3 years that I quit. No more drinking. I am like what's the word? What's the word to describe?
Liberated.
Pardon?
Liberated.
Wow. Um no, like impulsive and belligerent and loud and obnoxious. Like that's me sober. So you can imagine, oh, well, what I'm like when I was drinking. Oh my gosh, I don't miss it. Some of my friends are like, well, just because you're sober doesn't mean I have to be sober. No, that's not what I
No,
said. It's not what
exactly.
I said. You drink your face off. I don't care. I'm sober. So if we go out dancing, yeah, sure, I'll go out dancing with you. But I don't like to hang out in the bar. It gives me post traumatic stress. I don't know. Do you like to drink?
Socially,
Yeah.
I don't go out of my way to drink. I mean, election night, I did have a couple. Mind you, the results were like over before the event even started. So, I had to like drown myself in some kind of sorrow. I had a whole bunch of friends and community members join us. But I lost, and I lost by a landslide. So they made me a landslide drink, and we celebrated,
Well, that's fair. Yeah,
and
you
then they
have
made
to
me another one.
pardon.
And then they made me another one.
Hey, you have to celebrate. I have a friend who. Hey, so I'd have to look at the map. Like Hamilton, you're like where that big bridge is. Hamilton. How many hours south of Toronto are you? Are you even?
About 45 minutes away from Toronto.
Okay.
45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. Where is Fergus or Center Wellington?
Fergus. That's a good question. I'm directionally challenged
Yeah, me
as
too.
somebody who doesn't drive. That perception isn't there,
And me
so
too.
I'm going to use that as my excuse.
I fake it.
Um,
I say, oh yeah, that's south, right? But I know that everything south of Barrie is like southern Ontario.
right. I mean, I would say Fergus is maybe
Near Kitchener, maybe? No?
40 minutes away, 45 minutes away. I want to say. Watch this. Hey Google, how long is Fergus, Ontario from Hamilton, Ontario?
With light traffic, it will take you 58 minutes to drive from Fergus to Hamilton.
Yes, 58 minutes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's another
Tell
thing
her
too.
you're
If
in a
you want,
wheelchair and that you don't drive.
you sure you haven't had a setback, Candace? You know, you
No,
have a little. Are you sure that's coffee in that mug over there, Candace? I'm just.
no, I finished my coffee earlier. I'm drinking water right now, which is really weird, but I don't know.
Yeah, and
I'm
I
too
like that.
wired for sound.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I don't even know where I was going with that one. I don't.
I don't know where I was going with that one either. Oh, my coach lives in Fergus, and
Okay.
he was he didn't make the election either, and that was hard for him. He could be mayor here because
Okay.
he has so many good supporters in Sudbury. Love that guy. I don't know if he watches my show, but
Okay. I mean, for a first time candidate, I ended up getting 638 votes, 634 votes,
bad.
uh, which isn't bad. Yeah. I mean, and I was going against an incumbent. So that was
A
a
what?
difficulty in and of itself, an incumbent, which means he was rerunning for city councilor.
Okay.
I mean, I had a conversation with our outgoing mayor, because we had an event that we put on as members of the disability community and the advisory committee for International Day of Persons with Disabilities. That was just this past weekend. We put it on in October because we wanted to take advantage of the nicer weather. And I said to our outgoing mayor at the time, I don't have to worry about unseating an incumbent. Heck, I bring my own seat. So I didn't have nothing to worry about. So come on, Candace, you're killing me. I don't have to unseat an incumbent because I bring my own seat. Wheelchair, come on.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. They say the hardest part is to unseat an incumbent. I bring my own chair. I just want a seat in city council. I don't. We go. Okay, there's that laugh.
There was
You're killing me.
there's a few glitches in this episode. I don't know if it's my screen or yours. Do you notice it?
A few, yeah, absolutely.
Uh, why does it
But
do
we
that?
make it work.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Another life phrase, I guess.
right. And I mean, when is making it work no longer acceptable for people with disabilities? When is accessibility and inclusion going to be authentic and genuine? You
Good
know,
question.
we have this brand in Hamilton that says Hamilton is home. Gentleman's name is Max Francis. He's a good friend of mine. He helped me make shirts that says Hamilton is accessible. Now, by no means, and I had to I had to make sure that I was clear to everybody when I had these shirts printed that it's not about touting perfection. It's about celebrating progression. There's no such thing as perfection when it comes to accessibility and inclusion.
Say that again.
We want to be, don't tout perfection, celebrate progression.
Don't sell it.
Don't tout perfection, celebrate progression.
Celebrate
Progression.
progression.
Shoot, Candace, you don't need to go to McDonald's after this interview. You got your nuggets right there with you.
That's good. No, sometimes I when oh, no one I know, and people know not to ever you say a silly joke about me not having like a screw loose because like there's
Right.
a ton of screws in my skull. So like
Yeah.
it's funny, but
Yeah.
like oh my god, like lifetime warranty, right? So no, I don't have any screws loose. Oh my god,
Lifetime warranty. That's a good one. I like that one. That's
do
good.
that.
There you go.
No, I don't have any screws loose. So pretty tight.
I hope at least.
We're good. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Wow. Anthony, you have made this so exciting for me to talk about such a like a serious topic. It's been so much fun spending an hour and a half with you.
Right. And it's only 8 o'clock. Let's go. Come on. And she's trying to get rid of me now. Okay.
Well, then I'm
That
gonna
was
have to
her
go
cue to
make me
get.
coffee.
Yeah,
I'm
in Italian we could. Okay. All
what?
right. I'm no, no. It's all good. It's all good.
What about being Italian?
Yeah. No, in Italian when we talk about making coffees, we put a little Zambuca or a little something something to keep us going.
I remember Zambuca. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't miss those days. Those were they were fun. I'm not saying they weren't
Yeah.
fun.
Absolutely.
They weren't productive. Maybe I've just grown. I'm grown and I'm
Yeah.
responsible. I hope that's not boring. It's never boring, I'll tell you that much.
Right. You got. I hear you.
My
I
life.
hear you. Me too. There's a time to be responsible, and there's a time to let loose. I'm kind of a little bit in between. It's
Right
it's
now?
been no, no.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just saying overall, in general, right now. Come on. For the first time meeting you, Candace, I honestly feel like you're somebody that I've known for a while. You give off that vibe. You give off that that cheerful spirit.
I'm just crazy.
Yeah, likewise. This is water, I swear.
Well, whatever makes you happy. Your green screen makes your like your headphones and like it. Do you see it?
Yeah, I do.
See,
Yeah, I just put the logo there. I did.
I don't know.
Uh,
My device doesn't have that capability. It doesn't support a green screen. So like my messy like office background and my author banner, that's my thing. And
well,
I
I
don't know.
mean, it's in Zoom. You can do a virtual background. That's all this is.
I know, but my device doesn't support it.
Oh,
I've had other people that have that too, and it kind of like cuts their head in the
right,
in the view, not the
right.
view in the video. So what do you do at the college?
Customer service assistant. And what's been good about speaking of things like the pandemic, this has allowed me to work from home and take my job that was initially at the college, and to be able to work from home and be able to work from home permanently, which has
Okay.
been a lifesaver for me because the pandemic is as we had my ups and downs, and that stability and that ability and that confidence to knowing that you don't have to deal with paratransit in the morning to go from point A to point B. uh, and
Yeah.
being able to do your job at home is something I will be ever forever be grateful for.
I'm grateful for that too. But I need people. I thrive off of people. Who was it? Somebody was telling me, I was talking to somebody the other day about living by myself because I'm an extrovert. Like you people hello, like yeah, I'm an extrovert, no kidding. I thrive off of other people's energy. So living alone is boring.
Yeah, I live alone too. I have a cat.
Yeah. Oh
He's
no,
not entertaining though.
no. I'm entertaining, but like by myself. Like
You are. You
I'm
are.
not like yeah, but when I'm by myself, like like me, myself, and I, like we're a team.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
like she doesn't get my jokes. Like yeah, she'll laugh at them, but I'll be like, okay, like wrong audience. Like it's just not there. I need people. That's why I'm always out. I love that things are open. The pandemic was so hard. I spent a lot of time with a neighbor and we got really close. But yeah, things are just, and I know it's different for everybody. Everybody's family dynamic, everybody's home life, their work life, everybody experienced it. Like we can't say, oh yes, remember the pandemic, it affected, yeah, it affected everybody's business. but it didn't affect your business like it affected my business. It's different. Everybody's business is different.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it helped me launch my business and take it off the ground. To
Right.
be able to speak virtually. Like I've spoken to Bimbo Canada, which is Canada's largest bakery. I've spoken to Hydrocephalus Canada. I've had speaking engagements with organizations, to talk about Odin, to talk about HDEN, which is uh, Ontario Disability Employment Awareness Network. I'm on the Ontario Chamber of Commerce as a speaker,
Good for
uh,
you. You
and
so
and
with
CBC wants me and all that.
so with the price of inflation, you're gonna
Yep,
raise your fee, right?
absolutely,
Good.
absolutely.
Who does all your marketing? You do it?
I do it. I work with a good friend of mine that we go back and forth as well. She's got her own brand as well. That is related to disability, but a certain sector of disability, as opposed to mine, which is all over disability. So we work well together. If you go on my Facebook page, you'll see we did a Facebook Live on Saturday for International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Her name is Megan. She's a
I,
great
th-
supporter of mine.
I did watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Do you have do you have a website other than Facebook?
Yeah, it's a work in progress. It's anthonyfrisina.ca.
Okay. I have to get my speaker's website back up and running.
Okay.
I need to raise my I need to did I need to raise the roof in that department.
Portfolio. You need to raise your portfolio.
Well, I've been building it over the past
Yeah,
16 plus years. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's magical. It's
Isn't it?
when you earn, and I'm going to use that word very importantly, earn people's trust, earn people's respect. Just because
Yes.
you have a disability doesn't mean it's automatically given. You still got to go out there. You still got to uh, utilize your sweat equity and be part of the solution. I never was asked to be born with a disability.
Oh,
But if I was asked if I could change it, would you wish you weren't born disabled? And I would say no. 100 times out of 100. This is who I am. This is how I'm defined. This is how we need to keep going.
yeah. I agree. If there was like some sort of like I know there's medical advancements.
Yep.
I met a person once, I think it was a gentleman. He said that he had like any he you could see that he had some sort of visual impairment. And he told me that he had done work with the CNIB, the Canadian National Institute for the Blind. And I had
Yep.
told him about my experience with them. And he had mentioned some sort of surgery, and obviously it didn't go well because it didn't
Yep.
improve the vision. But if there was a surgery out there that could repair the optic nerves, that's what it had to do with the optic nerves, to reattach them. No thanks, don't touch my nerves. No, I wouldn't want, because if you were to snap your fingers and all of a sudden I could see out of both eyes 2020, then all of a sudden I would have to learn how to navigate with my new vision.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
okay,
know
well,
what it, you know what I mean? I wouldn't know what it's like to see like peripherally. I don't have peripheral vision. So if all of a sudden I did, oh my God, then I would feel like I was disabled, like differently able, disabled, like don't
yeah.
know how to live with my new vision. So yeah, I wouldn't change my flaws either, or my
They're
ability.
not flaws, they're uniquenesses.
Yeah,
I will
my
say
abilities.
exactly. Now, here's
Exactly.
the thing, Candace. You said something that I have to piggyback off.
Okay.
Now, I was walking because I was born with spina bifida and hydrocephalus. So I was walking up until the point of 12. Now, mind you, I was using mobility devices, canes, crutches, what have you. But at 12, when you reach that age of, your body transitions from boyhood to manhood, girl to womanhood, you need to have the surgery so that your spinal cord aligns with the changes that are about to happen. So basically, they were removing cysts from my spinal cord that wasn't uh, fully attached. And one of those cysts actually popped. When the cyst popped, the particles of the cyst were so small, it became inoperable. And that's what left me using a wheelchair there on after. Was I upset? Absolutely not.
That's out of your control.
Right. I was never upset because this new life that I was transitioning into and people being part of my old life, quote unquote, versus the new life that I was going on, there
Yeah.
was no changes. I was still Anthony. I was Anthony the person, not Anthony the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, sure. I I I can empathize with you.
Right, exactly. That's
Like,
why I wanted to tell you that story.
yeah, thank you. That's a good point. Like I was a little bit older than you. I was 15 years old. Uh April, May, June. So 3 months before I turned sweet 16. It wasn't that much of a sweet 16, but that's
Yeah.
not true. That's not true. I was creating the new me. So when I was walking like after the the regaining strength in the left side of my body after the stroke. I had a walker and a wheel. Like I was in a wheelchair for like 10 weeks or 15 weeks, whatever it was. And but I had like on my sweet 16th birthday, I was wearing a bicycle helmet because I had the bone flap removed to allow swelling in the brain. And so there was a big dent, like a huge piece of bone was removed. And like if I went like this,
Right.
it filled in just like this because it with
Wow.
cerebrospinal fluid.
Yep.
And then it would like, but if I were to touch it, it would kind of hurt. It was mushy, but they replaced it. So my scar is that's why I have bangs because I have
Right.
like this big
Okay.
war wound because it's like you can see it. There's like
I do see it. Yep.
yeah, it was like yeah. Um, the surgeon who did this, he just retired this year,
Yep.
and I forgot where I was going with that. Even yeah, I totally forgot where I was going with that.
So I always say, Candace, that a scar signifies a battle that you've won. So be proud of the damn scars that you wear.
Thank you. Yeah, this is
Externally, internally, whatever. Uh-oh. It's getting a different kind of program going on here now.
no
This is
settle
after dark. This is
down.
after dark now. Wait a minute.
You're funny.
I try.
At the beginning, you had mentioned gratitude, and I love that. I connect with that word. I have it on me. Like I
Right.
have grateful right here, and I have a big. This is my warrior tattoo.
Oh, wow.
It's oops. It says
Pain.
she found strength and gratitude in the pain. So I have gratitude on me twice.
Beautiful.
Gratitude here and grateful here. So yeah, and this is the side, like the stroke side that was affected.
Oh,
Yeah, I
amazing.
did find strength and gratitude in the pain. I live with chronic pain,
Yeah.
and somebody was asking me today, "Well, are you in pain now?" Yeah. What kind of question is that?
Oh, speaking of chronic pain, I
Okay.
love that because you get to the point where chronic pain exists, but your body becomes numb to it.
Yeah, you're like, wow,
It's
that's normal.
there.
I couldn't
Right, exactly.
imagine not having pain. Like
Right.
I'm about to invest in my life, in my health, with a new pain clinic here. And
Okay.
it's a very long story, but I found them after going all the way to Toronto for a doctor to tell me, I don't know how to help you.
Yep.
So I found this clinic here and I'm going to invest in getting Botox in my skull and my neck. Hopefully, oh my God, please, please. I hope it relieves some of my pain
Yeah.
because I can't live in Sudbury during the winters. This is like I need to retire and go somewhere hot. So like I have
Yeah.
no pain there. I
Yeah.
don't
And for me, like, I love the way you eloquently put that, Candace. Like
know what
for
was
me, I think pain is something that subsides with a busy schedule for me. Like I think I mask the pain that I have by being so busy, by being preoccupied with a lot of projects, with work. It's a distraction technique. It's a
yes,
distraction
yes,
method.
yes. Like I just joined the executive in Toastmasters, but I returned in September after being away from for 4 years. But I have so much on my plate that when I walked through those doors, I said, "Yes, I'm going to join." No, don't ask me. I'm not joining the executive. Well, I just took on an executive role yesterday. I'm so happy about it because it's going to get me through the winter. Because my focus is going to be on distinguished club points. It's not going to
Right.
be on, oh my God, the pain is at a 16 today. No, 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 I'm going to be busy and I'm going to be going to dance class and I'm going to be running my podcast and looking for great stories and mentoring somebody. And the list goes on. Yes, I love that. Being,
I will be your dance partner any day of the week, Candace.
yeah, I will. I could teach you a thing or two.
I'm sure you could.
What's your favorite dance?
You know what? I like the tango because it's the safest.
You think that's
You know,
safe?
well, for
I,
someone who uses a mobility device like I do, like you,
but somebody, my partner stepped on my foot yesterday and my dance shoes are open toe
uh-huh.
salsa shoes. They're red and sparkly. They're beautiful. Um, yeah. So for you to like roll on my foot and like I would break my foot. No, I.
See, see, that's where I was going with that. There you go. This is fun.
This is fun. Oh my gosh. What time do you have to be in bed?
I don't have a bedtime, Candace.
Are you working tomorrow?
I am. My typical morning starts at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because and I talk about this in my book that, for me, and I'm not making any presumptions, but for a lot of people with disabilities, time management is key.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Uh-oh.
No,
Uh-oh. What did I
that's a good thing. I can relate to you
Yeah.
because time management is, it's a skill that I will probably work on lifelong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you want
And
to
I
see?
have to get up early to compensate for how long it takes me to get ready. You know, I mean,
Right. Do you want to see
I
my
mean,
agenda? This is my agenda.
oh,
These are all my notes. These are
okay,
all my things I need to do. And I don't have everything written in there. I have a whole bunch of things that I didn't write in there and I'll probably forget to do. So,
okay,
no, maybe I won't remember. But sorry, I cut you off.
yeah, no, it's all good.
Time management. If I don't have a routine, nothing will
Yep.
get done. Nothing.
Routine. That's another subsection of time management. Having a routine.
Yeah. And we thrive in routine.
Right, right.
Owning your own business, you have to schedule it so that it works efficiently.
Absolutely. I mean, I know my condo, like even technology, for example. I have everything voice activated in my condo. Lights, the thermostat, the door. I have a keypad on the door. I have my vacuum on a voice activated.
Cool.
Everything like that helps me manage my life. I have things on timers. I do my own like cooking for the most part. So I have my lower oven, for example. I do a lot of things on my own. I just even cleaning my condo, like I have a Swiffer, but literally it's just me kind of like taking my wheels and being like a Swiffer on wheels, so to speak, because I'm just like wheeling myself as I go along and then hit the edge and then like wheel myself again, go along.
But you make it work.
Absolutely. It,
See,
it may look unorthodox to an uneducated eye, but it's what you need to do.
Anthony, isn't it fun doing the impossible?
You know, Speaking of the impossible, it is fun because it's those who don't have perception of what disability looks like, from whether it be firsthand or secondarily, that when they see me going shopping and I'm wheeling a bundle buggy while I'm also on wheels, and the way I do things, if I go to different stores, I'll grab a shopping basket and I'll sit it on top of the bundle buggy. So when I go through the aisles, I literally just toss what I need in the basket so it's at a reachable level. And when I go to check out, I'm at that counter in that corner, uh, and then navigate the turnstiles and whatnot. And then people just take the basket. And then I have shopping bags in my bundle buggy where I would just take a shopping bag out and put everything in that shopping bag as the transaction takes place. That's what works for me.
Strategies. Everybody has their
Exactly.
way. We have our strategies.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know what it's like to do the impossible. I'm
Yeah.
not like blowing smoke.
There's no such thing as impossible, Candace, because if you break down the word impossible,
It
it's
says
I'm
I'm
possible.
possible. I know. I know. This
I
isn't
knew
my
you knew
first
that one.
rodeo.
Oh,
You haven't heard this
Candace,
before?
why do I feel like I've known you forever? You just took one of my lines. This ain't my first rodeo. I use that all the time.
I say that all the
Yeah,
time.
right? Me too.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's true. Well, I'm gonna like the longer the video, I'm going to need more time to convert this video.
You must have the extended version of Zoom. That
No.
doesn't last 40. Oh,
Yeah, I should we should probably end this.
oh.
Anthony, thank you so much for spending time with me today. This was so much fun.
Candace, a pleasure as always. Keep in touch.
Thanks.
Stay
Yeah,
well.
keep in touch. Maybe we'll exchange books.
Sounds good. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye, Anthony.
Yeah,
Anthony,
bye now.
Frisina, everybody.